Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're doing well. So these fights are coming in thick and fast. I'm trying to catch up with all the promotional stuff for the day of reckoning, which is this Saturday, which is arguably the biggest card in boxing history in terms of names and just the event. It's going to be massive, and it feels like a big event as well. I made the Miller-Dubois video yesterday. This is obviously the OTTO WALLIN one, so let's get straight into that. Anthony Joshua takes on OTTO WALLIN, or however you pronounce his last name. Look, this is obviously each of these fights that they have. The Miller-Dubois one, that's like a car crash fight. The Wilder Parker fight for me is a bit of a dud. I'll get onto that tomorrow. Not to shoot the fight down, because obviously it's Deontay Wilder and anything can happen with that explosiveness. But I've spoken about in the past about Parker's lackluster desire to win fights, which I think, given where Wilder is too, they might just neutralize each other, and it could just be a moral victory for 12 rounds. We'll see. But this fight is the intriguing one. Not just because of stylistically it's interesting, but Wallin, listen, he comes to win. He really does, and he's not a deer in the headlights for occasions like this, as he wasn't against Fury, and that's what Andre Ward mentioned. He's like he likes to see that non-deer in the headlight moment from fighters that you would just get. I wasn't familiar with him. No, I don't think many boxing fans were, but he rose to the occasion. He gave Fury one good fight, and he gave him a lot of trouble. And then obviously he landed that punch that gave Fury the cut, and I think it was just purely Fury's size and experience that basically pulled him through that fight, because Wallin was having his moments for sure. And if AJ is not careful, this could be an upset that he doesn't want, because look, Wallin is a good fighter, right? The way I was watching the Fury fight a little bit earlier today, and I was just watching him work, and I'm like, okay, he's very disciplined. First of all, he comes in good shape, he comes prepared, and all these things might sound like they're normal, but they're really not. A lot of fighters, there's levels to discipline. Obviously, professional fighters have to be disciplined, but as I said, there are levels to it. And he's incredibly organized, and he's incredibly prepared, and he fights discipline too, right? He doesn't get too carried away, doesn't get too reckless, he doesn't overcommit too much, and he can do just about everything quite well. It's like on I compared it to like if you're playing a game of FIFA or NBA and you have a player and they got all the attributes categorized out of 10. Wallin's probably like a 7 or 8 in every category, maybe a 6 in 1 or 2. Like, he's not particularly athletic, he doesn't have necessarily fast hands, or they're not slow. The speed lies up here with him. That's probably his biggest advantage, is he's quite smart. He's sneaky smart, and he's patient. And being patient in boxing is a very, very important trait. But he doesn't have tremendous power. If you look at his punches, not one punch really stands out. We're like, wow, he's got a good right hook, or his jab's all right. It's not bad. It's timed nicely. He can counter punch a little bit, but his counter punching isn't like traditional. It's when I say traditional, I just don't mean like he doesn't really make his opponents pay too much, but he can counterpunch. And you look at the attributes, and he's, like I said, he's up there, roughly 75% total or something overall. Now then you take somebody like AJ, who has got way more athleticism, way more power. I don't know about speed with them two. It seems fairly even, but then you start to wonder. And AJ, obviously, right now his confidence is shot to pieces still. And I've been the one, that's not been the one, but I've been one that has been. He's going to be all right. He's going to come back. He's got a big heart. He's trying to do the right things to get back to himself. He's isolated himself in Texas. We'll talk about the training situation in a minute, but he's searching. He's searching for whatever he's looking for, whether it's through a new trainer or this dark room thing he did, which when I heard about that, I was like, oh, fair play, because he's just trying to do things to maybe get him out of that negative spot that his mind is in. You know, it's really hard to understand where he's at. And I was watching his fight earlier today with Hellenius, and it just looks, he's got the same look of someone that's just come in the gym and is sparring for the first day. You know, I might have been joking. He's like this, and he's like, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me, jab like that, don't hit me, don't hit me, don't hit me. He's just looking like, you know, yeah, that term poker face? His face just says, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. Ah, like that. And I'm just like, man, if he goes in with that type of attitude, I think Wallin's going to beat him, to be honest with you. He has to be assertive, and he has to just exude more confidence. Now, I actually think if you talk about a mini period where he might have actually looked a bit more assertive as against Usyk 2 in the first 4 or 5 rounds, maybe. I know he won about 3 of those, maybe 4 total in the whole fight, but there were at least 2 or 3. But he had more purpose and a bit more intent in that second Usyk fight. And I think Robert Garcia really put him in a training camp. And I know there was a massive rift there, but AJ spoke on, you know, he really alluded that it was a hard time in camp. And I think, this is just my opinion, I think when he was with McCracken and when he was a star and he was just like left to do his own thing, you know, not pushed to those uncomfortable moments in training, where I think Garcia pushed him there, and it pissed him off, and he came out the gates and he had a purpose. I could see his eyes were a little bit different, you know. Yeah, he didn't follow through at the end. He never does. And this is another thing when I was thinking about that fight, thinking when I was watching the Hellenius fight, I was like, you know, you remember Zab Judah, right? When you know, I remember I was at a fight at the Barclays Center. I think it was against Malignaggi against Broner, and Zab Judah was on the undercard. And there was a guy in the stand who must have been a major Judah fan, and he was like, "Come on, Zab!" But it was like the 6th round and 7th round. I forget who Judah was fighting, but I was sitting there thinking, this guy, you know, I know he's trying to believe in his fighter, but like Zab Judah's never been a good fighter past the 6th round. Against Danny Garcia, he did. He was, you know, he pulled something a bit more out of him. But it's like you're looking for something to happen that isn't going to happen. And it's like that. I'm getting like that kind of thought with AJ now. It's like, are we getting to the point now where he just can't summon that extra level? And look, he's been doing okay. Although the more I look at these fights back, I'm just thinking maybe they're not okay. But maybe the Franklin win will grow well. And you know, I know Hellenius was a late replacement, and he got the knockout win. But you know, he should be destroying these guys, really. Maybe not Franklin, because he's a little harder to get rid of. That was, like I said, we'll see. But then after that Franklin fight, I was like, all right, okay, good enough win, because we don't know how good Franklin is, and he won 10 rounds probably, you know, and it was fairly dominating. All right, cool, stepping stone. And now Hellenius, and he just looked like, you know, like I said, a first day sparring session. So I'm like, are we ever gonna get that time where AJ, if Wallin comes out the gates and puts him on the back foot, or because Wallin can fight in any direction, going back or forward, sideways, he can move laterally, like I said, he can do just about everything okay, or slightly well in some departments. But that's important for a boxer. That's boxing, you know, like you put in positions in a boxing ring, can you do it? That's why, you know, fighting going backwards is that will come from his, I think he was in the Olympics, wasn't he? I know he had a big amateur career, and I know they've sparred as well. So if Wallin comes out comfortable, confident, and he puts AJ on the back foot, and he starts landing some sneaky shots, and what's AJ going to do? Because I get into the point where the Zab Judah analogy or comparison is like, if AJ is slightly down on the cards, or it's even and he's got to pull some magic out of the bag. And I don't mean like a big KO like he did against Hellenius. I mean, maybe, but I just mean really turn the fight around in your favor. If you're down, do something where you actually have to cross that line of getting hit and being a bit more of a warrior, you know, and being that old AJ. I'm not expecting him to be that, but are we going to get any of that, is what I'm saying. And it's getting to the point where I'm thinking, you know, well, Zab Judah wasn't going to suddenly go all out after the 6th or 7th round, and I don't expect AJ to. I really don't. as much as I've been trying to champion his comeback, and I was going to make a documentary called Return of the King, which I put that on a shelf, that one, thankfully, but maybe I'll be wrong. If he needs to put in a good performance. The thumbnail says now or never. I know it sounds a bit extreme, but for me, I'm like, if he just gets through and Wallin doesn't perform well or whatever like that, and it's AJ just sneaks a victory and it's still underwhelming, it's just not going to be good enough for me, to be honest. I know the Wilder fight's there. I get that. From a business standpoint, I get that. It's not now or never, 100%. But for me, it's like, what does he want to do? I don't know what he wants to do in terms of the trainer situation. I know he wants to earn money and stuff like that. Maybe that's just it. Gets the Wilder fight, earns loads of money, and then he's just kind of see if he can get big fights after that. But Ben Davison, now obviously, look, he was in Tyson Fury's corner for their fight against Wallin, so he can automatically pull whatever information he needs to from him. Smart move, I guess. He didn't really talk on, or he didn't talk on the split from Derek James. Didn't talk about that in that interview with Ade. So that's weird. He probably left him, and actually Ryan Garcia mentioned that, in the post-fight interview he had after his last fight, he said Derek James said to him, "You're my last guy." Now that might not mean what we think it means, but a lot of people were speculating, do you mean that Ryan Garcia is your only fighter left, which would mean everybody else has left him? Maybe. But Davison, look, I thought about this earlier today. If he does pull out a great performance from Anthony Joshua, and we're seeing a confidence, we're seeing a great game plan. Ben Davison knows how to put a game plan together. Will Davison be in the mix for Trainer of the Year? That might sound a little extreme to some people, but think about it, right? You had the Lee Wood situation where he devised the game plan, and actually it was going perfectly until Lee Wood was the one that let that down. And it was clearly, don't exchange with this guy. When he's throwing hooks, don't hook with him. And that's what they were just trying to keep it long, stab, jab, box, basically exactly what they did in the second fight, which was the game plan. He just got caught. So not only did he also, the towel thing was controversial, but really and truly, look where they are now. That was a great move at the time. I'm always one to see fights go on, but like I didn't mind that. I'm like, cool, good stoppage. He loves his fighter, and so he's brought him from strength to strength. We'll see what Lee Wood does next year. When he was in the Fabio Wardley camp, he devised a great game plan against Adelaide, I think David Adelaide, yeah. And Ben Davison knew, he's like, yeah, we knew that all along. We just had to do this. I thought it'd be earlier. And he was so confident about it. And I was like, wow, that's the post-fight. So if he does this with AJ now, he's got to be in the mix, surely. Do you know what I mean? I think so. I don't think he gets enough credit, Ben Davison. Very analytical, yes, but his game plans are brilliant. They really are. Be interesting to see what game plan he does here, because I wouldn't let Wallin start backing AJ up and start dictating the pace and start, because he did that against Fury straight off out the gate. I think AJ should come out on the front foot. He's got to get that back right hand going. He landed that against Usyk so many times, especially in that first fight. It's kind of sneaky how many times he landed that. If you watch it, like after watching that fight about 3 times, he landed loads of little short, stumpy, sneaky right hands. That's a key punch for him, obviously against the southpaw. It always is. But I want to see AJ come out. I don't want to see him look like he's in day one of sparring. I want him to come out of that, flash these right hands, back Wallin up, and have some purpose and intent, and be smart and not look like a deer in a headlight. And he should, even if he's like, a little bit confident, his skills, his athleticism, his experience, his corner now, I think will improve him. He should be beating Wallin. Will he? I don't know. I'm going to say it's a close fight. I think Wallin will have his moments. Will AJ, if Wallin comes out and puts AJ on the back foot, like I said, and he starts winning a few rounds and it's a close fight, would you really expect AJ to win down the stretch? I don't. I think the start of this fight will be crucial for AJ to get his confidence going. I think he will control the majority and stay ahead and just have some nip and tuck rounds all the way throughout the fight and probably do just enough to win a close decision. He's going to get the decision because the Wilder fight's there. But is it going to be just another lackluster performance where everybody's like, all right, great, yeah, you get the Wilder fight, but are we really excited about that? I just don't know. I'm going to go with the AJ points victory. I think he's going to have some issues with Wallin, but I don't think Wallin's just going to be good enough overall. I think he's going to cause his problems, and I think his intelligence and his confidence is going to be a key part of that. But I think AJ's, just his athleticism, his ability in general, just overall as a boxer, his experience, all of that should just about see him through. It should be a lot easier than that if he had his confidence, but he doesn't. So maybe he will now. But anyway, that's it from me. It's a fairly long video, but I've got all the other ones coming out as soon as I can. I know the day's coming up on us quickly, so I'll get them out tomorrow. But yeah, that's it from me. Let me know your thoughts. Peace and love. Boxing on the Edge. I'm out of it.